I'm Stephanie with Metastock. In this training video, we're going to review the convert workflow in the downloader. So let's get started. So we're going to start in the convert tab. And in this video, we're going to review the conversion workflow. The downloader works with three supported file types. Those three are legacy, CSV, and our new file format, which we'll call MS Local for this video. So essentially what the conversion feature does is it takes any one of these file types and it allows you to convert them or change them into another file type to be used or worked with in Metastock. So the legacy file type is a file type that was used in older versions of Metastock. So anything Metastock 11 and older. And CSV is just comma delimited data. It's a very common type of a data or file type you can find anywhere. It's just a text file. And then again, the MS Local is our proprietary data format, and it's new with a downloader in Metastock 15. So what we're going to do is essentially just kind of quickly walk through converting these different types of file formats into a different type of file format. So I'm just going to quickly show you what type, let's say that legacy is a source, and what destination file type it can convert into. So if you select legacy, and I was doing a conversion earlier, so I have a folder here already, but we'll get into that later. If you select legacy as the source and go down here into destination, you can convert a legacy file type into either MS Local or CSV. So the output will be either one of these two. And if you select CSV, so if a CSV is your source type, then it can be converted into MS Local. And if you are converting MS Local, its output can be CSV. So those are the different combinations that you can work with. So I'm just going to quickly go through the options that are available on the screen, and then we'll walk through each type of conversion. Now, just a quick reminder, I reviewed this in a prior video, but just to let you know again, if you are downloading data from DataLink, the only file format that is supported for that is the MS Local. So we're going to start with a legacy conversion, setting the source to legacy. So I have a legacy folder already populated in here, but people will have multiple folders of legacy data, so it is not uncommon to have multiple folders listed here. So I'm just going to go and browse and select another legacy data folder. So I've added two legacy data folders here. And if you expand them, you can see the different securities within those. So you can essentially have as many legacy folders in here as you like. And depending on what's checked are obviously the items that will be converted to whatever you have set as your destination. So I'm just going to uncheck both of them, and I'm going to go in here and just select a couple of files, and I'm going to set the conversion to CSV to begin with. Now, as it stands right now, my destination folder path as far as where these files will convert to is blank, so I need to go and specify that, and that's done by clicking on Browse. And I'm just going to select the desktop, and I'm going to create a new folder. And I'll just name it something easy to find. And I'm going to select that folder. And you'll see here it's now listed down there, and that's where those two folders, the Apple and the Amgen, are going to convert from legacy, and CSV files will be created. So let's do that now. I'll just hit convert. And I have green check marks indicating that those converted correctly or properly. It tells me how many records converted. So I am just going to quickly minimize the downloader, and I'm going to open up my new folder, and we'll just open up these files. And there's the CSV data. There's Apple. So that is the legacy to CSV conversion. These CSV files can also be read in Metastock, because Metastock 15 can read CSV files. Next, we'll do the legacy to MS Local conversion. Because we didn't change the source file type, the existing folders that we had before are still listed. We're just going to select a couple more. And I have an existing folder on my desktop for MS Local. And so I did a conversion earlier, and that's why it's identifying that. But I'm going to create a new folder on my desktop, and we'll call it Convert MS Local. We're going to select it, and it's going to put it down in there. And we'll start the conversion. And as you can see, it is successful. So when we convert any of the legacy or CSV into MS Local, the downloader, the new Downloader 15 and Metastock 15 are the applications that can read MS Local. So if we go over here to the Download tab, I can do Add Folder, and I'll go to Desktop, and you'll see it sees that MS Local folder. I can highlight it and do Select Folder, and it brings it in, and it shows the 4 symbols I converted from a legacy file, which if I select Download, you'll see in real time it's updating that last date, so it's collecting the data, right? So we'll close that, see my last date. Now we're up to date. And just a quick reminder, when using the downloader and collecting from Data Link, only MS Local files will download. So even if we tried to add our CSV files that we converted from legacy, you'll get that warning message saying, you know, the folder selected contains unsupported file format. So you'll have to convert it into the Metastock file format before you can download from Data Link. That's just kind of what I was reviewing there. You have to convert it first into the Metastock file format before you can add it to the Download tab. So we're going to go back to Convert. So we reviewed how to convert from legacy into the 2 formats that it supports, so legacy to MS Local and legacy to CSV. So next we're just going to do the same for CSV. So when we select or change the source from what it was originally, you'll notice that the main window goes blank because the folders that were listed in there before were legacy files. And so the Convert console, now that the source type is set to CSV, is only going to read CSV files. So we're going to go ahead and browse, and I'm going to go into my CSV folders. So I'll just select this one, and we'll expand it, which shows us all the different CSV files that we have and the different intervals. So for CSV, we can only convert into MS Local. That's the only file format that we support in this conversion workflow. So we'll just go ahead, and I'm just going to browse, and I will create, let's see, I'm just going to create a new folder just to keep it simple. Okay, so we can see that we're converting from CSV to local. We're going to select that folder. And I'll just select all of them, and we'll do a convert. You'll see again the conversion report. It's all just a very basic workflow, and we can close it. If we go back into the download tab, we should be able to add that folder because then it's in the MS Local format, and they too can be downloaded. You can update them with data. So we'll go back to convert. This option down here, it just says overwrite matching date records in destination. So I'm not going to select everything. I'll just select a handful of items. Because my destination folder is an exact mirror of my source folder, the data is identical. I'm picking a handful of items and I'm going to bring them in. Essentially, we're telling it to overwrite that data if the data exists to overwrite it, right? So Apple already exists in this convert MS Local folder, as well as let's see, Garmin as well on the monthly and Garmin on the weekly. So let's see what happens when we try to convert if the data already exists. So what it did is it went ahead and it converted those. And because we had that option checked, it just simply overwrote those, right? It didn't give us an error message about, hey, it was already there. It just overwrote those without any prompting or anything. So overwrite matching data records in destination. So what that essentially means is that if you are converting each time from CSV into MS Local, if you have data records for, say, Apple that are overlapping, and you want them to overwrite that section that is overlapping, then you want to have that option checked. So next we're going to review our final source format conversion, which is our new file format, the MS Local or Metastock format. And we're going to convert that into CSV. So I'm just going to use the existing folder listed here. This is just a folder that I had created. It has, I believe, the NASDAQ in there. So I'm just going to expand that. It shows all the various data files I have in there. So I'm just going to leave them all checked. I'm going to hit browse, and I'm just going to create a new folder like we've been doing. And I'm going to call it Convert MS Local to CSV. I'm going to select that folder. And it's just as simple again as clicking Convert. So while this is finishing up converting, I'm going to go into Metastock. We're just going to walk very quickly through how to bring in those converted folders into Metastock for charting purposes. So I'm just going to expand the Power Console. And we're going to work in the charts section here. So any of the files that you convert in the downloader are going to be considered local data lists. So I just double clicked on the local data listing. You can also right click on it and from the menu select new. So for this, I'm just going to work on bringing in the lists that we converted from legacy into CSV and also from legacy into Metastock file format, because those are the two local data formats that Metastock 15 supports or will read. So we'll just give this a CSV name or something. So we're going to hit browse and browse again. So when I select the desktop, we see here all the different folders that I created. So these are the ones that I converted to CSV. And I just select the folder. And because these files were properly formatted in a way that that Metastock will read during the conversion, they will automatically show up. So they're already highlighted. So I'm going to hit add and I'll hit save. And it creates that list. And these are essentially ready to be charted. And so this was the CSV one that we converted from the legacy. So I'm just going to create another one for the MS local files. Again, we hit browse, browse again. And this was CSV to local. And there's our files, and we're going to hit add. It's a bit easier for me to remember. And there's our second list there. You can expand it, and then you'll see these are ones that were originally CSV files are now Metastock file format or a new format. And we can, again, just chart those in the normal way that we do. And now I'm going to create our final list in Metastock, which is the MS local to CSV. And browse again. Select our folder. And this will take a little while because we're loading so many instruments. So let's go ahead and select all and add, hit save. And here's our latest list. And again, it's the same, just as always when opening up charts in Metastock. Just select the charts items you'd like to see and open it up. And just a couple of final things I want to show you in our convert window. And that's our right-click menu. It's the same regardless of what file type you have set in the source. And so you can right-click on individual items and you can view the source data. And it just is going to be showing you a tabular view of that data file. So if I have a couple of them checked and I right-click and I do view security data for all checked, it's just going to show me the data files or the data sheets for each of those items. And again, if you right-click on the actual folder path, it's the same option to view security data for all checked, so any of the items that are checked. And again, these right-click menus are the exact same regardless of what source you have selected. And that concludes our training on the conversion workflow in the downloader. I do encourage you to watch our other training videos. And if you have any questions, please visit us at www.metastock.com/customer.